What is the key to speech improvement evaluation? Today, Michael will provide helpful ideas for any Toastmasters who give effective evaluations, to give effective evaluations. Michael learned how to evaluate from his sage mentor, Ginger Kane, who was filled with wisdom. Michael will get you involved, so grab that blank piece of paper everyone was asking about earlier and get ready to write. Please welcome Michael Notaro with 5 keys to effective evaluations.
Fellow Toastmasters and our honored guests, it's good to have you here with us. How many of you would like to give a horrible evaluation? Well, today we're going to talk about evaluation. And of all the speeches we give in Toastmasters, there's one speech that can make a transformational impact on the speaker, and that is the evaluation. Evaluation notes behavior. And when we're aware of how we can change our behavior, we can change our speaking, we can change our life. I've had some wonderful evaluations, and I need to tell everybody right now, you don't have to have a PhD in Toastmasters to give a good evaluation. Okay? I've gotten some of my best evaluations from brand new Toastmasters. Now, why is that? Because all of us, long before we were Toastmasters, had a guttural reaction to speakers. Think about the first time you saw the great speaker, Michael Luther King Jr. I mean Martin Luther King. Sorry, wait. You had a guttural reaction, didn't you? Favorable, or maybe unfavorable in some areas. Liked certain things, didn't like other things. Evaluation is just basically bringing to the surface those guttural reactions in a way that is effective and helpful for the speaker. Evaluation is a process that has 4 parts. Part number 1 is preparation. Reading the speech manual project and talking or emailing with the speaker saying, what are you going to work on today? Step number 2 is watching the speech and taking notes. And we're going to talk about that with your piece of paper. Step number 3 is actually delivering the evaluation. And step number 4, which a lot of people forget, is you follow up with the speaker and you say, Yvonne, how'd you feel about that? Do you have any questions about my evaluation? So that's the process that begins with personal contact with the speaker and concludes with personal contact with the speaker. So let's talk about being ready. You've read the speech objectives. The most important thing is finding out what is the purpose of the speech. That's going to help you evaluate. Some speakers want to just inform us with information. Some speakers want to entertain us. Some speakers want to persuade us. Some speakers want to do all 3 of those things. When you know the objective, you can evaluate the impact of the speech. Now, everybody pick up that blank piece of paper that's in front of you. This is something I learned 20 years ago, and I've used ever since to evaluate. Take a pencil or pen, put a positive sign in this corner, a negative over here, and a line right down the middle of the paper, just like that. That is your note sheet. Positive are things that favorable, that you liked about the speech. Negative side, those things that need to improve. You'll notice I have 3 columns going down the page. Those represent the 3 areas I will evaluate. The first being the visual. What did I see? Positive side, I'll write comments about things I liked in the visual, the gestures, the body language, the movement of the speakers. Negative side, I might say a little improvement is needed. You seemed a little bit stiff when you were speaking. The next column beneath that you will see is an ear. That's for the auditory. What did I hear in the speaker? I'm going to talk about vocal variety. I'm going to talk about pausing. I'm going to talk about content development, the flow, the rhythm of the speech. I'm going to note positive things I liked and then negative side. Maybe there's some things I think there could be some improvement. You know something, Eric? You just talked too fast. I just felt you were going too fast. You just paused a little bit. So that's going to go right in that negative. The third column down you will see is a heart. And that's for how did I feel about the speaker? What kind of emotions did the speaker give? Did the speaker leave me inspired and uplifted? If I've got positive, I'm over on this side, or maybe some recommendation for improvement. The speech really could use a conclusion that inspires and lifts us to a new level. Now, after the speech is over, I'm going to take my sheet, just like this, and I'm going to begin my preparation to deliver my evaluation. Step number 1 of the 5 steps is to organize your material very, very quickly. And that means circling those things that you're going to talk about. You can't talk about everything on this sheet. There isn't enough time in 2 to 3 minutes. So you have to target those things. The model I use is 3, 2, 1. I start out with 3 positive things I think the speaker has done. Move on to 2 recommendations for improvement. I never give more than 2 because most people can't absorb more than 2. And then 1. I always finish with a positive recommendation. 3, 2, 1. That's my organizational model. I begin delivering my evaluation. Eleanor, that speech really worked well for me. You told me about what the next generation is going to do, the millennials. The problem with that is that I was talking right at Eleanor. A lot of evaluators will just talk at the speaker. An evaluation is a speech. It's intended to be delivered to the audience. We're all learning and growing from it. So remember, step number 1, be organized. Step number 2, be public. Make it a speech. Step number 3 in an effective evaluation. Be personal. The tone of my evaluation is like this. I think, I recommend, I suggest that you consider something. So I never have a universal judgmental tone because all I'm speaking for is Michael. I can't speak for Lewis. I can't speak for David. I can speak for Michael. So I say, I recommend you consider improving your vocal variety. I recommend you think about how you structure your transitions more clearly. Personalize the content. I suggest some words to never use. Never use the word must. I hear people saying, you must do this, you must do that. Your speech gets moldy and mildewy. Don't be a musty evaluator. Don't be a musty evaluator. The other word to avoid is the word should. Don't should on me. Don't should on you. Don't should on us. Personalize the content. I suggest, I recommend. My next recommendation, number 4, is to be specific. This is where you will really make yourself into a great evaluator. I usually pull out a shovel at this point and talk about digging deeper. Digging for the gold and digging for the diamonds. If you give an evaluation that just restates the obvious, you do very little value to the speaker. Focus on digging deeper into the content to help them improve. Eric, that speech moved me when I saw you get up on that chair and gesture like Andre the Giant. I felt emotions surge inside of me, and then you transitioned into a wonderful place from there. That's a specific reference to something that happened in Eric's speech. He can build upon being specific. If I just say, Yvonne, good speech, good gestures, good this, good night. It doesn't help her at all. There's nothing specific she can build upon. My final recommendation is to be illustrative. Be illustrative. And what I mean by that is give examples. Give suggestions for how the speaker can improve. You give recommendation. You say, this particular thing didn't really work for me. Well, how about if you try showing instead of telling? Give recommendations for how the speaker can go from good to better to best. So let's review my 5 points together. Number 1, be organized. Number 2, be personal. My opinions, my suggestions. Number 3, be public. Make it a speech. Not just talking to one person. Number 4, be specific. Go deeper. And number 5, be illustrative. Give examples to help the speaker go to the next level. Who is the biggest beneficiary of being a good evaluator? You are. Because when you can evaluate others, you can evaluate yourself. I look forward to your great evaluations.